Picture this. You're at a party. The music is going, people are laughing, glasses are clinking, and someone is telling a hilarious story in the corner. And you're standing right there, drink in hand, completely alone. Not physically alone. There are 30 people in the room. But inside, it feels like you're behind glass, watching everyone else live their lives while you're somehow outside of it all. And here's the strangest part. You might have felt this way at your own birthday party, or surrounded by your closest friends, or in a room full of people who genuinely love you. And you smiled and you laughed at the right moments, and nobody had any idea. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know something important before we go any further. You are not broken. You are not weird, and you are definitely not alone in feeling alone. What you're experiencing has a name, it has a cause, and maybe more importantly, it has an explanation that might just change how you see yourself. So let's talk about it. Psychologists call this experience social loneliness disconnected from physical proximity, but let's just call it what it is, the invisible wall. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely unseen. And the reason this happens is far more fascinating than most people realize. Here's the thing your brain is actually doing when you're in a crowded room. It's not just processing faces and sounds. It's constantly, almost obsessively, asking one question. Do I belong here? This is evolutionary. For hundreds of thousands of years, belonging to a group meant survival. Being cast out meant death. So your brain developed an incredibly sophisticated social radar, scanning every interaction, every glance, every laugh for signals of genuine connection. And when those signals don't come through clearly, your brain sounds the alarm. Even if you're physically safe, surrounded by people, your nervous system can register something that feels almost identical to danger. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Researchers at the University of Chicago, led by a psychologist named John Cacioppo, spent decades studying loneliness. And one of the most striking things they found was that loneliness isn't really about how many people are around you. It's about the quality of connection you feel. Two people can be at the same dinner table. One feels warmly held by the conversation. The other feels like they're reading subtitles of a movie they don't quite understand. Same room, completely different internal worlds. And why does this happen? A few reasons, and I want to walk through them with you because I think at least one of these is going to feel almost uncomfortably familiar. The first reason is something called the performance trap. Somewhere along the way, maybe in childhood, maybe in a relationship that taught you it wasn't safe to be fully yourself, you learned to curate who you are in social situations. You learned to be the version of you that people like. Funny at the right moments, agreeable, not too much, not too needy. And here's the cruel irony. The better you get at performing, the lonelier you feel. Because the applause isn't for you. It's for the character. And deep down, some part of you knows that if they saw the real, unedited, unfiltered version, they might not stay. So you stay behind the mask, and the mask gets standing ovations, and you go home and feel completely, utterly hollow. The second thing happening is a breakdown in what psychologists call perceived mutuality. The sense that someone else is genuinely interested in your inner world, not just your presence. Think about the last time you were in a conversation where you felt the other person was really, truly listening. Not waiting for their turn to talk, not half checking their phone. Actually with you. Rare, right? And when that's missing, when conversation stays on the surface, bouncing from topic to topic, never landing anywhere real, your brain doesn't register it as connection. It registers it as noise. And ironically, noise in a crowd can feel lonelier than silence in an empty room. There's also something worth naming here that doesn't get talked about enough. The experience of feeling like no one actually knows you. This is especially common for people who are seen as capable, funny, or the life of the party. When you've spent years being the person who holds things together, the one who checks on everyone else, the one who always seems fine, people stop asking how you're doing and really meaning it. And you get so good at deflecting the question that even when someone does ask, you say, "I'm good," on autopilot. And then you're alone in a room full of people, and you realize, quietly, with this strange, heavy feeling, that no one in this room actually knows what's happening inside you. Not because they don't care, but because you never let them. Here's what I find genuinely beautiful about all of this, though. The loneliness you feel in a crowd, it's not a flaw. It's actually a signal from the most human part of you. It's your inner self saying, "I want to be known. I want real connection. I want someone to see past the performance." That longing is not weakness. That longing is the entire foundation of human intimacy. Every deep friendship, every love story, every moment of genuine belonging, it starts with someone being brave enough to drop the mask, even just a little. Now, I'm not going to pretend this is easy to fix. You can't just walk up to someone at a party and say, "Hey, I feel profoundly unseen. Want to get into it?" Well, you could. That would actually work on the right person. But the more realistic path is smaller than that. It's one honest sentence. It's asking a question that goes one level deeper than small talk. It's letting someone see that you're tired, or confused, or moved by something, without immediately softening it with a joke. Brené Brown, the researcher who spent years studying vulnerability and belonging, puts it simply. Connection is the result of authenticity, not performance. You cannot truly connect with people while you are performing for them. And the terrifying, liberating truth is that the moment you stop performing, even just slightly, even just with one person, is the moment the invisible wall starts to crack. If you felt this way, and I suspect a lot of you have, maybe even recently, I want you to sit with one thing. The fact that you feel this emptiness in a crowd doesn't mean you're failing at being human. It means you're paying attention to what you actually need. And that awareness, that is the beginning of everything. You don't need more people around you. You need a few people who are actually with you. And that starts with being willing to be with yourself first, to take off the performance, even in private, and get honest about what you actually feel and want and need from other people. If any of this resonated with you, if you've ever stood in a full room and felt that hollow glass wall feeling, drop it in the comments. Not because I want you to perform vulnerability, but because sometimes just naming a thing out loud is the first tiny crack in the wall. And you might be surprised how many people are reading your comment thinking, "Finally, someone said it." Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.